For such a fool that the gig is up for Rachel. I am as certain as I possibly can be. I bet you wish you'd killed me when you had the chance.
Yes, it's I, Leclerc. Yes, I am a Doctor Who fan, but I have to say, having been upset with the Doctor Who series, this has got me as a new, fresh convert. So anyone's who's confused is going, what's going on here? Listen, I joined with Celebrity Traitors and I have loved this series, and so even those people who've not seen it yet, I recommend you give it a look. So we're going to give our reactions and analysis of what's going on, and I'm going to show you some clips as well, so hang around. I'm going to be fast and speedy. I should have a panelist joining me, but at the moment it's me and thee. So welcome everybody. And now you've got a set up there, haven't you? And I'll explain it all in a moment. So of course, first of all, why was I so interested? This is hot property, this, isn't it? I mean, if you talk about terrestrial TV in 2025, 2026, it's about Traitors, isn't it? Traitors UK spawns Traitors USA, Traitors Ireland, Traitors Australia. It is taking off. So I couldn't help but just notice that I needed to look at this. And as I said, I find it engaging, I find it dramatic, I find it absolutely riveting, I find the psychology fascinating. Absolutely everything you want, really. So I'm going to take you through what I found from last night's episode. I'll be doing another show tomorrow, of course, to update you. But this is a ratings blockbuster. What is the phenomenon all about? So let's have a look at it, right? So you see, Traitors, Claudia Winkleman's the presenter. She obviously has a band of 20-odd people who are all seen as faithful. A few people are picked as traitors, and it goes from there. I'll explain a bit more as we go, but I have to say, absolutely riveting stuff. So the first thing I'll do is I'll show you some of the highlights, and I'll interrupt and then take you through, because one thing we're going to do tonight, if I press the right button, is talk through the big moments, the faithfuls, the traitors, and what's going on. So first thing I want to do, and I can see Garbage is here. Good to see you. Let's have a look. So highlights, here we go.
Do we have a deal?
On to the bus later on.
First of all, what's going on there? That lad's called Matt, and there was a moment when suddenly, for the first time ever, they are allowed to talk, not face-to-face quite, talk to the traitors. There's the two traitors there, Rachel and Stephen. And so if I just take you back for a second, you will see that there was a setup where 3 people had won the prize of being able to ask any question they wanted, 2 questions, of the traitors. But they could tell lies if they wanted to. So Matt, first of all, turns up, and I call this a big moment because, oh my God, he had a chance to come up with 2 clever questions. I couldn't think of what those clever questions could be to elicit the right response. He decided to say, will you seduce me so I can be a traitor in the future? Now, I will keep saying spoilers, everybody, if you haven't watched it, because it's amazing. But yeah, you go into a kind of mock church confessional. They're hiding behind the screen, and he's representing all the faithful team, because the game is that the faithfuls try and defeat the traitors, and the traitors try and evict all the faithfuls, and then there's a big prize pot. At the moment it's on £50,000. So he had 2 chances to challenge and trick or elicit some great detail from the traitors. Instead, he went, I'd like to be one of you. because Fiona got knocked out, who was a secret traitor, then a traitor. So there you go. So when you see this moment, what a dramatic
Do we have a deal?
On to the best later on.
We have a deal.
Do we have a deal? So he's really gone there, absolute brass neck, to actually say, I want to be one of you. Couldn't give a stuff about my team. So one thing we're going to talk about today is the gameplay, the strategy, who's getting it right, who's getting it wrong. But this wasn't the big moment. Believe it or not, this betrayal of the faithfuls was not the big moment. This was.
You recruit. I wanted to be a traitor from the very beginning, so keep my cloak warm.
This is Harriet, okay? Harriet is one of the faithfuls. And I mean, they've had some great candidates. If you haven't watched this series, take a look and start from the beginning and catch up fast. There's been some fantastic candidates. Anyway, she was the second faithful who could ask 2 questions, and she kept her powder dry. She would not tell any of the faithfuls what she was planning, because you don't know who the traitors are. So, of course, clever. But I was thinking, what questions are you going to ask? And what are you going to do? Oh my God. If you want to watch gripping TV, this was one of the moments.
But I want you to know who I am. Taken me for such a fool that the gig is up for Rachel. Rachel is in that confessional. You know what? You can't murder me tonight.
I'm done. You're not. She's scaring the life out of me. And I'm nervous that she might just get me.
I bet you wish you'd killed me when you have the chance.
Oh, right, you know I'm a Doctor Who fan. This was gripping. As you said, Garbage, the traitor was almost crying. Rachel is playing a blinder. I will talk about that. Rachel as a traitor is brilliant. She's had FBI training to not give away any microaggressions or micro kind of body language tips. She's really a cool cookie. She's looking like a favourite to win, I'll be honest with you. But she was bricking it. So it was played so well by Harriet, I thought. Or was it? Because I'll be asking the thread and Garbage whether we thought she did play it well or whether she overcooked her hand. Because the strategy was amazingly upfront. She didn't have to challenge them. She didn't have to reveal that she was onto them. She didn't have to, I mean, because she said only the day before, you keep your enemies close. And she knew Rachel was a traitor, or she had a hell of a hunch, and she wanted to keep it back. But this time she thought she'd blow the whole strategy out the water. The trouble is, and I'll show you a bit at breakfast, when it all seemed to go kind of wrong. But just watch this drama and just think, is this what you do? If you think you know who the traitors are, and they can kill you, remember, day by day, is this what you do? Expose that you're onto them to try and unsettle them. That was her plan, to unsettle them.
But I want you to know who I am. Taken me for such a fool that the gig is up for Rachel. Rachel is in that confessional. You know what? You can't murder me tonight.
I'm done. You're not. She's scaring the life out of me. And I'm nervous that she might just get me.
I bet you wish you'd killed me when you have the chance.
So she's referring to every other round table when they have a vote of who they're evicting each day. You didn't pick me, so now you've lost your chance, love. Now, this was a real... I mean, God, if you loved Dallas in the 80s, if you loved the big blockbuster dramas, look at the way this is produced. Look at the way this is directed. This is top-notch stuff. So you've got Harriet walking out, having just thrown grenades everywhere. She has succeeded in making Rachel and Stephen, the 2 traitors left, brick it. They now don't know how much she knows. And the other it's a clever trick at this point. I'm not going to tell you what my evidence is. I will reveal it at the vote at the round table. Clever again. And I was thinking, what evidence can you have? Because it's all tittle tattle. It's all kind of just watching people. It's all guesswork. So I was intrigued. It had Rachel Brick in it. But then I think, as Garbage has said, I think there were mistakes made. Let's just move on. Now, those of you who've never watched Traitors before, there's a breakfast the next day. They're normally looking to see who comes through the door, to see who's dead, as in who's been murdered and evicted from the game. Now, this time you've got great drama. You must love drama like this. Rachel has dressed to impress because she knows she's up against it, and she has to make sure she has that cool face. And then coming in is Harriet, and everybody's pretending.
Harriet!
Morning.
How are we all?
Harriet, just really, really quickly, if it's about the thing, we disagree.
Now, if you see that, Roxy, one of the faithfuls, has said, we all had this plan. The people who run the game, who had the chance to go and ask questions, we all have this plan. Well, Harriet doesn't know that. I think Roxy was a pain in the neck here, because Roxy was saying, no, we've all decided that we're going to have a 5-minute moment and talk about our tactics. Harriet was coming in, I mean, she was nervous, and she knew she had to get this right. So, of course, she was playing as a solo here. So, in the crossfire, it looks as though Harriet's rude, and Roxy doesn't like it. But I don't know why Roxy's even interjecting. This is what got me tediously kind of frustrated about it. But here you go.
Are we all?
Harriet, just really, really quickly, if it's about the thing.
No, shut up. I have really had a sleepless night wondering about... so somebody's mentioned I've got Davros. Right, okay then. If that's the case, all I can do... My voice is back as well. So, we've really got a lot to talk about here. This breakfast was like, it's like the Last Supper. It's full of drama. So basically, like I said, Harriet's had a sleepless night. She said she's rehearsed what she was going to say, rehearsed the evidence, and she needs to go in there full guns blazing. She can't afford to get it wrong. So here we go.
Are we all?
Harriet, just really, really quickly, if it's about the thing, we disagree.
No, I'm afraid I'm not acting as a collective, been acting as it were.
I get the nerves. I also get the fact that it sounds rude to those who aren't in on the strategy. And so because it sounds rude, she's losing the room bit by bit. And this is where I think her strategy just collapsed.
Undercover. I'm a writer, but I'm actually a published author. Several psychological thrillers, former life, a criminal barrister.
So she reveals another thing. She used to be a criminal barrister. She writes psychological thrillers. She's a published writer. So, of course, you can see them going, ah! Now, of course, as she says, and I've had to edit this bit out, she actually said, if you knew this at the beginning, the Traitors would have had me out in a shot. So all this gameplay is so clever. The psychology, the fun. This is why I love it, everybody. I'm watching Doctor Who. Sometimes I'm going, yeah, right, okay. This is gripping. You're going, how would I get out of that? How would I deal with that? Absolutely amazing. But you can see where she overplayed her hand. She had Rachel there, right where she wants her. But because she sounded so, I don't know, solo, stroppy, I think she lost the room. Bit by bit, she lost the room. And Hugo had done this a few episodes earlier, also a criminal barrister. And he, also at breakfast, just went for it and was a bit bolshy. And therefore, people went, whoa. And the issue is, I'm learning this as I watch Traitors, is if you change your character, if you suddenly go more stroppy than you were before, people see that as suspicious. Now, Tomboy Chick says, isn't there a former detective taking part in this series? You're talking about Amanda. Amanda was in and overplayed her hand and was chucked out. There seems to be a habit of people overplaying their hand. So this was what we were doing here.
Collective, been acting as it were, undercover. I'm a writer, but I'm actually a published author. Several psychological thrillers, former life, a criminal barrister, which
Explains everything.
why I think you are a traitor. Because I have had enough.
I mean, this is where she's got the legal training. She's going for the drama. Now, that bit, fine. Good ratings. The bad bit is you've got to keep the room with you. And she's getting so strong that she's going to look rude. She's going to look a bit cruel. She's going to look a bit bullying. And therefore, Rachel just has to sit back. It's great tactics, this, you know. Rachel doesn't know what to say, but she could sit back and go, hold on a minute. I could look like the victim. And this is where she overplays it. If you listen to this, who would you side with, everybody, if you didn't know? Would you be going, well, Harriet's normally quiet. What's going on here? Oh, you can't say that to Rachel. Have a look.
I think you are a traitor. Because I have had enough. You should have killed me when you had the chance.
Where has this come from?
I'm not.
The cat amongst the pigeons.
The cat amongst the pigeons. This was the bit where I think she really lost the room. Roxy is being a pain. I have to say, Roxy, you can see the girl over there. She's got no skin in the game. She didn't ask the questions. Just let the people who asked the questions say what they asked and tell us the answer. Because we need to find a traitor. Every night we vote and we need to knock a traitor out. She's interrupting. But then Barrister sounds a bit stroppy. Listen to this again. Wouldn't you just go, aye?
I'm not.
The cat amongst the pigeons, Roxy.
True or false?
Are you telling us what?
Now you see Matt there. I showed you Matt earlier. He wanted a deal. So when everyone says, what were your questions, Matt? What did you ask them? And then you can share. So this is an interesting game, you see, at breakfast. Harriet is up front. You know she's telling the truth, but she's overplayed her hand. Matt has been a devious little devil, maybe playing the game better. And look at how he responds.
True or false?
Are you telling us what they were?
No.
I'm not going to tell you what the questions are. I'm not going to tell you the answers. Oh, all right. Okay, then. That doesn't look suspicious. So we don't know what you said to the traitors. And we don't... And he came up with some cock and bull story about, oh, I can't give things away. Wow. So, as far as I said, even if she overdid it, what she said will stick with the rest of them. Right, well, we'll get to that in a moment because she sounds as though she's got all the evidence. She sounds as though, she's really laying a brilliant case. As Stephen Braddock, who watched it and we tried to get him on, Harriet misplaced her hand to the point they all thought she was a traitor. Yeah, I think the suspicion was she changed her character too much. So that's what that was for those who haven't seen it. So I'll now come back to the big moments. So that was such a dramatic moment. So it then it was like throwing a pebble into, all the waves, reverberations. So when they all go in different cars to do the game of the day, the task of the day, they're all talking about it. And all Rachel had to do, as the traitor, remember, she's the baddie. She just had to sit back and let them all go, that was a bit too far. What is Harriet doing? And she just has to sit back. So, of course, this played so badly. I was a bit shocked that a trained barrister would do that. But anyway, I suppose we're all human. So that was one of the big moments. Another big moment was one of the... when they play the task, when they do the task, they always... they could win shields and money. And for some reason, James decided to nick a shield unbeknownst to everybody. Crazy. So there were suspicions going all over the place. But yes, the big moment was there. Beginning of the show, everybody. And then, being a Doctor Who fan, I love my cliffhangers. You get the task and all the rest of it. But when we got near the end, they normally edit it brilliantly. And they were given a big decision to make. So one of the big things was, after Harriet has just thrown that blooming massive grenade everywhere, the traitors... They can meet, of course. They meet in the tower, the turret, every night at midnight or whatever it is, while everybody else is in bed and hidden away. Nobody can see them. They've got the hoods on, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, every day, normally, they can choose somebody to evict, to murder. Stephen, being one of the traitors, he's been a bit strange because Stephen looks so obvious. He goes red. His eyes are on stalks. He bad actor, do you know what I mean? But he's getting away with it. Absolutely getting away with it. Rachel, like I said, cool as a cucumber. Matt, devious little player. But they're all having to wonder about who could be the next traitor, because Fiona, who was the secret traitor, Fiona got found out. She overplayed her hand. She took on Rachel too. So there's a track record here that don't you dare take on Rachel. She's created this atmosphere and this character where everybody will feel sorry for her. She's so nice, so friendly, so cool. And if she stays like that, she stays well under the radar. But, you know, Fiona blasted her and went for her. And bye-bye, Fiona was knocked out. So it's a dangerous maneuver that Harriet's just gone for, because Fiona failed. Fiona also said she had a strategy. And when we all watched it unfurl, there wasn't much of a strategy there. And she was evicted because of her change in behaviour. And it looks as though Harriet's done the very same thing. So let's look at these traitors for a moment, because they have a massive dilemma. At the end of the episode last night, season 4, episode 7, they had to decide whether they seduce a faithful to bring them on, a new one onto the team, because there's normally more 3 traitors, and there's currently 2 because of Fiona's being found out. So Claudia Winkleman, fantastic presenter, sneaks up the turret and says to them, right, are you going to seduce or murder? And of course, they had a big decision to make. Do they seduce Matt? He's asked for the deal. Or is that too obvious? Should you seduce somebody who's less obvious? You know, there were loads of little things I had to think about. Or they could murder, but you can't do both. So the traitors had a lot to decide in their turret. And actually, it looks as though they've decided to murder and not seduce a faithful to make a team of 3. So now we come into the big discussion about, well, who are they going to murder out of the team? They can't murder everybody. They had a task and 7 shields were grabbed. 7 shields. So you've got a woman called Jessie, Faraz from Middlesbrough, Jade, Rachel and Stephen nabbed a shield each when they didn't need it, so they nicked it off others. Jack and James. All those people, because they've got a shield, can't be murdered. But there were secrets within secrets, so the traitors don't know everybody who's got a shield. So that was good, because they could waste their murder opportunity. Stephen Braddock here. No one seems to have noticed Stephen at all, like he's in stealth mode. And yet if everyone watches his face, it's like one of the giveaways today, apparently, was at breakfast time, Rachel suddenly changed how she dressed, but nobody clocked it. And the reason really is it was so obvious that Harriet was the one they noticed, because she changed her behaviour. I'm learning a lot about this. If you change your behaviour and you're trying to cast aspersions, you're the one they're going to notice, not the one. They're not even going to be listening to what you're saying. So it was fascinating that. You learn so much about how to play this. It's really good stuff. Let's have a look. Tomboy Chick, who's not even watched it, but thanks for joining us. I do like Claudia. She always makes me laugh with her eccentrically bonkers manners. Oh, she's made for this game. Absolutely made for it. The task with the cherubs and shields was full of line and skullduggery. Yeah, and poor Harriet, who I've shown you at the beginning of the show, she could have got a shield so easily. I suppose she's made herself obviously the next person to kill. So, of course, whether it's today or tomorrow, it didn't matter. But at the end, they have picked somebody, and we've got the cliffhanger. We don't know who it is. So you tune in tonight to find out who have they tried to murder, have they succeeded. Gosh, it's a good game. The faithfuls, I find the ones who are left are now the bland ones, or the ones who've deliberately gone under the radar. So you've got people like Ellie, who's a psychologist, and you've hardly heard her say anything. Jessie's lovely, so therefore the traitors would normally kill her next, because she's a faithful. And you want to keep people in the game where there's suspicions on them, because people might vote them out next. Because the traitors want to survive to the end to get the pot of money, which, as I said, at the moment is £50,000. Now, everybody, if you got to the end, 2 traitors, let's say, win, because at the moment they're playing the blinder, would you share the spoils, or would you do the dirty? If you were Rachel, would you do the dirty on Stephen, or Stephen do the dirty on Rachel? I mean, God, can you imagine it? So the Faithfuls, I mean, here we go. I'll just show you what they all look like at the moment in case you've not watched the game. Obviously, a fair few have been knocked out now. Poor Judy on the first night. She was a foster parent. Her daughter's in the game as well, but she was knocked out first night. Everybody thought she was suspicious. Nobody knows really why. I was clueless about that. But there's been some great people in it. I liked Reese. Reese was knocked out, and bless him, he was crying his eyes out at one point because, God, the heat on him was massive. The Faithfuls, it seems to me when you get to the round table is key. If you open your gob early, you're going to basically get all the fire. If you think you're under suspicion, I think don't blink. Sit there and wait for somebody to dare to say, I actually think you, Brendan, should be out next. And then say whatever you need to say. But a lot of them are going early. They're all faithful. In other words, they make themselves look guilty. Right, everybody's been looking at me, so I might as well say I am a faithful, I'm a good, decent person, da 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 da. Then people can nitpick and ask questions. No, stay quiet. Don't say a blooming word. And I'm finding if I ever played Traitors, keep your gob shut. Because Amanda, brilliant detective, went early. And actually then she did lose it and she started saying, well, you're suspicious. And in the end I thought, right, we're kicking you out. So the Faithfuls are playing a bad game because at the moment they're not getting what they need. The voting though, happens near the end at the round table. The voting was fascinating because normally you can study it. And normally you can go, oh, you voted for so-and-so. Now, why was that? But tonight, Harriet kind of gave them an easy kit. She just said, you all think it's me. I'll prove to you it's not me, but I can only prove that by being kicked out now. And then my suspicions will have more credibility because you'll know that. So I thought, oh, God, it's called my bluff. The trouble was, the Faithfuls are so paranoid, so insecure, as you would be, because you don't know who's who. And they're going, she's saying this just to call our bluff, not to vote for her. So Harriet, bless her, said, okay, you clearly don't believe me. Go on then, vote me out. I give you permission to vote me out. And then when I stand over there and say I'm a faithful, you will know that everything I said was true, and therefore Rachel is a traitor. Wow. Talk about high stakes, or was it a mistake? Garbage here. When someone goes crazy or does obvious things, they always get voted off. Yeah, don't blink, don't do anything. Rachel, you see, FBI trained now. People are looking for anything for genuine reasons to vote for people. In other words, they're not very... In a way, garbage, I'm thinking the person who doesn't ever look suspicious is the one I would vote for. But the trouble is, how do you argue for that and get the rest of the people to agree with you? Farsight, the psychologist, is doing what she does best, listen and observe. Yeah, but the trouble is, Farsight, if you stay doing that for too long, people get suspicious of you, as I've just kind of hinted at. Stephen Braddock, even being a traitor isn't easy because they have to remember who they're told certain things to so they can't be caught out. Stephen should have been caught out by now, shouldn't he? Because he was in a room with a small group of people. Jesse was onto him, and when they chose somebody to murder from that group, Jesse said, well, and she was onto him. But now, the way Harriet has acted, he seems to be off again. So the voting, basically, in essence, was not worth analysis in yesterday's show because basically Harriet said vote for me. So everybody just about did. The only person who didn't was Adam, who voted for Matt because Matt wouldn't give answers about what he'd asked the traitors. So yes, of course, that's blooming suspicious, and it's not a team player. Ellie, the psychologist, voted for Jade. For some reason, everybody's got it in for Jade. Amanda, the detective, had it in for Jade. So those were the only other two votes. Harriet, of course, voted for Rachel. But I think you can guess the results now. Harriet, with that high-stakes strategy, criminal barrister training, shut up now, cat 'em and the pigeons, ended up being eaten. So she went. So what happens next? Well, as I said, every episode ends with an outstanding cliffhanger. EastEnders can't do duffs like this. Doctor Who has given up on them. Oh my God. So right at the end, seduce or murder. It looks as though they've decided to murder, but we don't know who they've murdered, and we don't know if the murder will work. Suddenly, edit, credits, find out tonight. I don't know if I've convinced people to watch if you've never watched before. I just got sucked into this and I've absolutely loved it. So I will talk about this tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get somebody on with me. If you do enjoy this and you're available, come on in. But that was me suddenly discovering a new show that I absolutely love, more than Doctor Who actually, Traitors UK. Join it. Watch it tonight. You will pick it up fast. It's just basic psychology. So Stephen Braddock, who was going to join us, Stephen and Rachel have a 33% chance of getting it right out of those people left. So do they get a murder successfully done or not? What would everybody do if you were in this game? Every day people are suspicious of you. You can't keep your mouth shut. You have to play tasks. You have to look like you're a team. It's very hard to work out how you play it. Because even trained barristers, even trained detectives have said, once the venom's on you and the spotlight's on you, they start saying things that they wish they hadn't. And then you look very, very suspicious and then you're kicked out. Yeah, I'm going to have to get one of those cloaks or get the Who Pets doing it. So everybody, I'm going to keep this short, but basically join us tomorrow to see what's happened. More drama. If you haven't seen it before, have a look. As I tell you what, I absolutely love it. I'm a convert. I'm passionate about it. It's my favourite TV programme at the moment. And if that means anything, that might be a recommendation. See you tomorrow.